Number 15. Triangle FGH is similar to triangle JKL, where angle F corresponds to angle J, and angles G and K are right angles. If the sine of F equals 308 over 317, what is the value of sine of J? Right, so they're testing our knowledge of similarity in triangles, and they're testing our knowledge of sine. What is sine? Also related to cosine and tangent are trig identities. So first, similarity. Similarity means I have two triangles and their angles are all the same, but their sides, the lengths of their sides may be different. They are usually different. If they were identical or congruent triangles, they would also be similar, but just because they are similar does not mean they are also congruent. Similar is they have all the same angles. Congruent is they have all the same angles and the same length of sides. So while in similar triangles, their lengths of their sides are not necessarily the same, that would make them, again, congruent, they are proportional. So let's say this is length of this side was 1 and this was 2. You'd multiply by 2 to get from the smaller triangle to the bigger triangle. So then if you said, okay, so this side, length of this side is 3, what is the length of this side? 3 times 2, or 6. So their sides are proportional, their angles are all the same. That's our first concept. Our second concept is sine, cosine, and tangent. These are proportions that are always true of right triangles with certain degree angles. So basically what happened is long time ago, people realized if I have a right triangle, and let's say this is a 30-degree angle and this is a 60-degree angle, and let's say I had a tinier version of this, but it was similar to it in that it also had a 30-degree angle. Looks like 300, but it's 30 degrees. Can't draw tiny zeros, tiny degree marks apparently. And it was also 30 degrees and 60 degrees. That if I measured this side and divided it by that side, I would get the same exact thing as if I took this side and divided it by that side. Proportions are always going to be the same. And they wrote down what those numbers are. If you divide this side by that side, what do you get? They started doing this a long time ago, and now we don't have to use charts or things like they used to back in the good old days, the ancient days of 20 or 30 years ago, where they had to actually, I'd say more like 40, 50 years ago, but anyway, where they had to look at charts. Now we have it in our calculator. Okay, so here are what the different proportions are. If I want to know what the sine of this angle is, like in this case, the sine of 30 degrees, the sine of this angle, the sine of angle A, I could express it either way. It's going to be the length of this opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. That is sine, and that's what this particular problem is testing. The other two ones they will test, I started to write C there, and I shouldn't. Let's just make that an A. There we go. Adjacent. Cosine is adjacent divided by hypotenuse, and tangent is the length of the opposite side divided by the adjacent. For whatever angle we're talking about, the opposite side is the one it's looking at, like it's seated opposite it at the table. The side that's touching it is the one that's adjacent, like if someone's next to you at the table where you're sitting, they're adjacent to you. And the hypotenuse is always the longest side. I do recommend putting these in your memory bank. They come up a lot. So here, this is our core concepts we need to know for this problem. Now let's look at the problem itself. We have triangle FGH, and it is similar to JKL. We don't know which one is bigger or smaller. It really doesn't matter. We just know these are two triangles. That's a sad little triangle I drew right there. And they are similar to each other. Okay, so we're told angles G and K are right angles. So those are my G and my K. And F corresponds to J. So I've got F up here at top. That means J is up here at the top. And the leftovers are H and L. So I have triangle FGH. And I have triangle JKL. All right, so far so good. The sine of F, sine of angle F is equal to 308 divided by 317. Does this mean 100% that, because this is representing opposite over hypotenuse, does that mean 100% that the length of this side is 308 centimeters, inches, whatever, and that the length of the hypotenuse is 317? No, it doesn't. It means that's the proportion. That's the ratio. It could be twice as big. It could be 616 and 634. 2 times 308, 2 times 317. The length of these sides does not matter. What matters is this proportion, the proportion of this angle F. So this angle, whatever measure it is, every other angle in every other right triangle in the universe, if that angle is the same measure, it will have the same sign. That proportion is always identical. So when we look over here, they're wanting to know what's the value of the sine of J. J is the same measure. F and J, they correspond to each other, so they are congruent. The corresponding angles of similar triangles are congruent. That's when they say corresponds. That's what they're telling us. They're the same. So since the sine of F is this proportion, this fraction, the sine of J is also that proportion. If the measures of the angles, and they're both in a right triangle, if the measures of those angles are identical, and they are, then the sines of those angles will also be identical. The cosines of those angles will be identical. The tangents of those angles will be identical. So, sine of F is 308 over 17. The sine of J is also 308 over 17. There are variations on this type of problem where they are a little more tricky, where they'll say, if the sine of F is this, then what is the cosine of, and they'll name a different angle. Maybe F, maybe, maybe J, maybe L, what have you. So that is possible. That's why I recommend knowing cosine and tangent and being aware how they work together. I also recommend reading these very closely and making sure you're looking at the right thing. In this case, they are both sine. They are both the same corresponding angles, so it is identical. Our answer is B, 308 over 317. Hey guys, it's Alyssa, and if you're looking for more SAT or PSAT help, go to mathwithalyssa.com. There you can get over 25 hours of test prep. This is for both math and reading and writing, both sections. They also come with practice questions, downloadable study guides, and more. Links to everything are in the description down below. Leave me a comment if you have any questions about this video or any suggestions for future videos. I'm all ears. And if this video was helpful or useful in any way, please let the algorithm know about it. Like, share, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later. Bye. And I think I slapped my leg because that's something you do. Why do I slap my leg? Why am I slapping my leg as I'm talking? Who knows? I don't know.